talking to all the analysts and the pundits and the reporters and everybody else in between out there. You don't get to dictate for the paying audience what they like and what they dislike. I could make the argument that the fact that this stuff has been politicized, because it clearly has been, and people are forced to take sides, is something that's working to the benefit of the WNBA, because we're talking about the WNBA more than we ever have.
That's a good point. We are talking about the league more than we ever have. Is this a case of all publicity is good publicity? Also, to Stephen A's earlier point,
if you thought the WNBA had already hit rock bottom, you need to sit down, lock the doors, and brace yourself. Because what happened this morning on national television didn't just break the internet, it allegedly shattered the foundation of professional women's basketball. The mainstream media is reportedly scrambling to contain the fallout, but the damage is already done. This is no longer just a locker room argument or controversial foul. We're looking at what is being described as a full-scale civil war, with some of the biggest names in the sport caught in the middle. For the last 48 hours, rumors have circulated about a secret emergency meeting involving WNBA team owners. But nobody knew what was allegedly discussed behind closed doors until Stephen A. Smith walked onto the set of First Take, looked directly into the camera, and delivered an explosive claim. He didn't just expose a scandal. He allegedly revealed a shadowy group of powerful owners supposedly working against one of the league's most outspoken players. Sophie Cunningham, a fan favorite and outspoken voice in the league, is reportedly facing calls for an immediate and permanent ban. And the fallout is so intense that WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is allegedly under enormous pressure. Today, we're breaking down the alleged smoking gun that supposedly started this fire.
I don't believe Sophie Cunningham will be with the Fever next year. I said this before. I didn't think she was going to be there this year because of the bad press. Now, everything that Sophie Cunningham did this year put the Indiana Fever and the entire league on notice. I'm sticking by it. I think they're going to try to Colin Kaepernick her, bro. I really do. It goes on to say the 30-year-old guard who joined the Fever in 2025 after 6 years with the Phoenix Mercury signed a one-year deal for 2026 that ends soon, fueling speculation about her exit. Her summer ESPN comments wanting to protect young girls from competing against biological men, which she called common sense, drew cheers from spectators and boos at games. Backers highlights her three-point shooting, enforcer style, and broad apparel, arguing the WNBA needs her more than she needs it amid rumors tied to her views. Yes, Sophie Cunningham, whether they like this or not, the pub that Sophie's...
To understand this absolute bloodbath, we have to look at the man who allegedly pulled the trigger, Stephen A. Smith. Now, let's be brutally honest. For weeks, Stephen A. had been walking a dangerous, hypocritical tightrope. When the war of words erupted between former NBA player Enes Kanter and the WNBA, Smith appeared to play both sides. Kanter was exposing what he described as the league's double standards, calling out front office decisions and demanding accountability. Stephen A. tried to play diplomat, protecting his connections with WNBA executives while still giving frustrated fans something to rally around. But yesterday, that tightrope reportedly snapped. According to this narrative, someone inside the WNBA front office leaked a highly classified internal audio memo to Stephen A. Smith's production team. After allegedly hearing what owners were planning to do to Sophie Cunningham, his entire demeanor changed. He reportedly realized that staying neutral was no longer an option. Stephen A. allegedly went completely rogue, ignoring producers and launching a furious rant that challenged the WNBA's image of unity. So, what did Sophie Cunningham allegedly do to put a target on her back? She spoke out. While others remained quiet, Cunningham reportedly criticized the league's financial structure, officiating, and treatment of certain players. She also publicly aligned herself with the concerns raised by Kanter, becoming an increasingly outspoken voice for frustrated fans. According to the claims, WNBA owners viewed Cunningham as more than just a player. She was becoming a symbol of rebellion, and powerful organizations rarely welcome that kind of challenge.
This t-shirts during overtime and told us we had to leave,
and this says for the girl,
or cover our shirts up. This just happened.
It's crazy, right? It's totally crazy. That's the mother and daughter team that just the other day were kicked out of the game in Atlanta. It turns out they paid like $1,000 for their tickets, which everybody was like, oh my God, $1,000 for a WNBA ticket? Like that in and of itself is shocking. And then they get kicked out because they're wearing XX and XY. Just like Kanter was kicked out of the game last night because he was wearing a woman and what she is, the definition of a woman. And it's so funny to me. It's so weird that this is becoming such a big thing. Like, honestly, you really have to make that big a deal of it? Apparently they do. There is a school of thought there that is like uber progressive and uber crazy in the athletic world and embodied by so many of these people that are in the WNBA. And they don't like what Sophie represents for a whole lot of reasons, right? Same thing with Caitlin Clark. You know the drill on that. And then you get, the Megan Rapinoe's of the world even, that it feels so inclined to weigh in on this too. Like, Megan, really? Didn't you play like a bunch of 15-year-old boys and they whipped your you-know-what pretty darn fast? Like, you can't play against men, Megan. Like, what are you thinking?
According to the alleged leaked documents Stephen A. Smith waved on live television, a coalition of powerful WNBA owners supposedly held an emergency off-the-books conference call. Their alleged objective wasn't simply to discipline Sophie Cunningham or suspend her for a few games. The documents reportedly claimed they wanted to find a legal loophole to remove her from the league entirely. The accusations went even further, alleging plans to strip Cunningham of her contract, jeopardize her endorsements, and publicly humiliate her as a warning to other players. Speak out and face the consequences. Stephen A. Park was reportedly furious. He argued that some league owners were behaving like a cartel, allegedly plotting behind closed doors to damage a young woman's career because she dared to challenge the system. "You don't want a basketball league," he reportedly said. "You want a cult of silence." The alleged exposure was explosive. Normally, when a scandal this serious reaches the public, you would expect the commissioner to step forward, address the accusations, and promise a thorough investigation. But according to this narrative, Kathy Engelbert didn't do any of that.
You can wake up and say, I'm a female and I want to participate in the NBA. According to the letter of the language of the law, you can actually get away with it. And that needs to be clarified. Clearly, that's a political position to take. And I think on one hand, Enos Cantor was very wrong. It was a classless thing for him to do.
Well, I don't even think it's a political issue. That's the craziest part. It's not a political issue. It's a common sense issue. The WNBA, they've maybe have turned it into a political issue because they refuse to use basic logic and anatomy. But it's not really a political issue. Or it shouldn't at least be a political issue. Maybe that's a better way to put it. It shouldn't be a political issue because it's common sense. But it's a political issue because those who are delusional have been catered to for far too long. To now they're believing their own delusions, and common sense needs to step in every now and then and just smack you over the head.
Because it's not, the ladies that are playing don't have anything to do with this. The league does. Its collective bargaining agreement may be the case. The liberal tilt that it has might be a cause or a cause effect to some degree. I get all of that, but the actual ladies that are involved, they have nothing to do with this, and they don't deserve to be agitated the way he clearly was willing to do in attendance at the game. It wasn't just about him standing, but he was just about to step to her. You got no business doing that.
He was just about to step to. You don't believe that, Stephen A., do you? You don't believe that, Stephen A. She ran across the entire court. She went from one side of the court to the other side of the court to get into his face. You don't believe he was going to step on the court, do you?
When Stephen A. Smith allegedly aired the dirty laundry, the backlash from fans was immediate and devastating. Millions reportedly flooded social media threatening boycotts, while sponsors supposedly began backing away. The pressure cooker exploded. Engelbert allegedly realized the owners had gone rogue behind her back. She was suddenly facing a crisis with the league's credibility hanging by a thread. So, what did the WNBA leader reportedly do? She surrendered. According to reports, a furious Kathy Engelbert stormed into a meeting with the Board of Governors, slammed her keys on the table, and announced that she was walking away. She allegedly refused to remain the public punching bag for vindictive, out-of-control team owners accused of targeting Sophie Cunningham's career.
She she sprints down across the other side of the court, barking at him, losing her mind. She needs a sedative.
Deserve that. Not the ladies actually playing. They don't deserve that. And all of us, as American citizens, as human beings, find ourselves caught up in a political system that has purview and dominion over us as citizens of a society. If anybody knows that, it's Enos Cantor Freedom, because of his history with Turkey.
So you think he'd understand the importance of speaking out, huh, Stephen A, right? Right, Stephen A? You'd think he'd understand the importance of going through this whole entire song and dance so we don't get to a level that he thinks that we could possibly get to. You think he'd understand that, wouldn't you, Stephen A, right? You'd say he's an expert in this, has some experience, been down this road before, understands the song and dance. Gotcha.
That's where he's from. That's where his family is from. This man was in fear of his life. I interviewed him. I heard his story. And the courage that he showed in speaking out against the Turkish government, against China, and putting himself in that lion's den. Because of his past political history, he should be applauded. Not to mention the fact that taking a political position is consistent with who he has been. Perfectly understandable. Got it.
Oh, so this is nothing new, you're saying? So your issue is just that it happened in the WNBA? What exactly is your issue, Stephen A? Like, you're doing a lot of complaining right now, but what exactly is your issue? The fact that he showed up to the game? Is that your issue? The fact that he was wearing a t-shirt? Is that the problem? You want him to take his shirt off, Stephen A? What's your problem?
Let that sink in. The commissioner of the Women's National Basketball Association allegedly quit in the middle of the season because the internal conflict and alleged sabotage had become so toxic that she could no longer stomach it. The league was supposedly left with a leadership vacuum, creating an unprecedented power struggle. This is no longer just a basketball story. It has become a massive corporate controversy. Fans are furious, and many are questioning the WNBA's message of empowerment, player protection, and accountability. For years, the league has promoted standing up for what is right. But according to these allegations, the moment a player like Sophie Cunningham spoke out, powerful owners supposedly moved to push her out of the sport, Stephen A. proper. Smith allegedly chose a side, and in doing so, shattered the WNBA's carefully crafted image. Ames Cantor appeared vindicated, while Sophie Cunningham was reportedly left in limbo, waiting to see whether the alleged billionaire-backed effort could threaten her contract. Now the WNBA faces an enormous dilemma. If Sophie is banned, millions of fans could turn away. But if the owners back down, they risk losing authority and making Stephen A. Smith's explosive accusations even more powerful. Either way, the pressure is building and the clock is ticking.
Left-wing media and WNBA sources are now saying Sophie Cunningham might be released from her team at the end of the season. Her future is subtly in doubt. Interesting. Does anyone seriously doubt this isn't because of her supporting women's sports? Now, this is the scene that has been happening at a lot of these games. Let's watch. So as you guys can see here, this is the Indiana Fever, man. Look at Caitlin. Caitlin did this. This was at the Atlanta Dream game. Caitlin did this before. She didn't have her hand on her heart. Now, I'm not saying now I'm going to sit here and nitpick Caitlin for her political views, but this looks spooky, CC. This looks spooky. Goes on to say sources within WNBA are now saying the league plans to release Sophie Cunningham in the offseason as effectively banish her from playing in the WNBA ever again. What did I tell y'all? They finna Colin Kaepernick Sophie. I knew it. Ain't no team gonna sign her. So I believe the Fever are going to release her. No doubt about it. Here's the thing. I don't believe another team is going to sign Sophie, guys. I really don't. And I believe she's going to be the new Colin Kaepernick, bro. Something 80% of Americans agree. If the WNBA engages in the obvious form of discrimination, then the Department of Justice will be forced to step in. Yes, intervene. This is going to turn into a very, very bad situation. This might be the biggest story of the
The WNBA is reportedly under intense pressure right now, with critics accusing the league of trying to suppress this story and keep it out of the spotlight. Stephen A. Smith has put the allegations on the table, and now the public is demanding answers. I need to hear from every one of you in the comments. Are the WNBA owners acting like a corrupt cartel by allegedly targeting Sophie Cunningham? Was Commissioner Kathy Engelbert wrong to walk away, or was she right to abandon what critics describe as a sinking ship? And did Stephen A. Smith finally redeem himself by exposing this alleged plot? Let your voice be heard below, because this comment section is going to be a war zone. If you want unfiltered basketball commentary on the stories the mainstream media may overlook, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Keep holding the line, and I'll see you in the next explosive story.